Wurlitzer Company, at the time of the band organ's construction, was located in North Tonawanda, New York, just north of Buffalo. A very large concern, building theater pipe organs, about to start into the jukebox world. And all throughout their career, they were building band organs for carousels in many different models. The New Philadelphia band organ is a model 153, which was the most prolific model they had in their catalog. They sold more of that model than anything else. It was a nice sweet spot of not too big and not too small that fit many carousels. It was the right price point. And so there are more of these around than any other model Wurlitzer band organ. It was a real workhorse for them. The New Philadelphia organ is very typical of them in that it has served its purpose quite well for the last almost 100 years now. And this organ, we've been taking care of it, doing routine maintenance for about 2 years. When we approached the folks about its condition, it was playable, but it was not pristine. And it really needed to have an overhaul done to it. When the organ got loud, it would run out of enough air to get all the pipes to blow on pitch. And so when it got loud, the pitch would sag or droop. And what was unbeknownst to most people were that not all the pipes were turned on. There are certain pipes you can turn off while you're tuning in order to have not everything happen at once. And those pipes were turned off to conserve air. That's the way we found the organ. So it was actually operating at a lower level and still couldn't produce enough wind. That was the primary first tip-off. Also, the snare drum did not play at all, did not function at all. And we rebuilt that a year ago because that's such a visible part of it. I wanted to make sure that it worked for last year's time, so we had that done. Also, the cymbal didn't work when we first got there. We patched that back together to make it go, but there was a lot of patchwork that had been done over the years on the organ. Many hands had worked on it, and there were places where newer materials were substituted for traditional materials, and time has not been kind to some of those materials. So our goal in this organ was to take it all back to its original design, using the original materials, old-fashioned hot hide glue, which is still used in our industry frequently, but that's the appropriate kind of glue to use many places on this organ. Replacing all of the leather parts that wear, all the gasketing. This organ will be almost like new. We've gone back and replated a lot of the metal parts where the plating had failed and were rusting. So you can see things perhaps behind me that are bright and shiny now that haven't been for many years. The organ will be clean. It's in an outdoor environment, and it showed signs of being 85 or 90 years outside. And it's been a fun project to work on. Pretty much everyone has had something to do here. My primary cabinet maker, Phil Brown, has had to remake certain parts that were beyond restoration or had been damaged. The bulk of the work was done by Cameron Cooch and Joyce Harper and Mike Carden, who have been working on restoring hardware and recovering pneumatics and rebuilding all the mechanisms and cleaning, lots of cleaning. You don't really want to try and make something look like it came off the factory floor yesterday. But at the same time, we've cleaned the case, we've fixed all of its structural issues, and then it's a shellac finish originally, so it has a new coat of shellac, the same kind of shellac on top of it to make it, to seal it up and make it clean and durable for the next 30 or 40 years. This organ originally was probably run by horsepower or a steam engine running and it now has an electric motor on it, of course, and we're doing that system new again to make it quieter. It was very noisy. The pumping system was noisy because of the electric motor drive. So we're redoing that to make it quiet. We'll tune the organ here in the shop, but once it gets moved, that throws things potentially a little bit out of tune. So everything will be touched up and made really exactly pristine once it gets to its final home. And there the organ will sit, hopefully for the next 20 to 30 years, and we will do our yearly maintenance and tuning on it, and it won't have to be moved again for a long time. Well, there's a great deal of satisfaction in this industry and in our craft. Both new pipe organs for churches or concert halls or the occasional home that we do. That's the best part when it all comes together at the end. And I've always been fascinated, as all of my life, by automatic self-playing instruments. And this kind of an instrument, that's the only way it plays, is by itself. And it's designed to simply entertain and make you smile. And there's nothing that can bring a broader smile, I think, than the sound of a carousel organ in its proper setting, on a carousel outside with people riding it and having a good time, not in a museum someplace, but actually out in a real town the way it's supposed to be.